See, MaSa's like, TLO's like, you have to put the camera facing mostly the wall. You can't see me. I'm like, oh, this is.
Oh,
wait. So MaSa's gonna do his Reaper thing,
and TLO's
gonna do the meme build. Yeah, he's doing the meme build.
So this is 12 full double gas, so that's 100% Ravagers.
Yeah,
MaSa's
the only thing this can be.
Does 3x Reaper survive this? I think so, right?
Ravager. Well, it depends.
It's tough.
I mean, there is an opportunity to try and do some damage to like where the there's an opportunity to try to do some damage to like the Ravagers if you can snowball with Reapers, but once you get to 3 Ravagers, you're one-shotting the Reapers because of the damage that they do. So you're eventually just gonna like reach this point where it's like 4 shots or whatever, but Reapers have much less attack range than Ravagers. So engaging in an open field, Ned, not gonna usually go very well for the Reaper-based player. Especially since what's going to be coming out of the hatchery are roaches. Like, I personally think that this is, if you're playing like a macro game as a Terran and you SCV scout, I clap every time I see a Zerg doing this because I'm like, oh, free ladder points, right? But if you're being aggressive or something, then the whole scope of it kind of changes. Because normally you just want to rush a bunker, defend, get up your tech, and then it's like you can kind of do whatever. That SCV surviving is thank you, RNG gods. But yeah, losing anything early on will be pretty bad for MaSa. If you get a large number of Reapers without dying, then you can overwhelm the Ravagers by like doing good micro. However, it's just going to boil down to control on both sides. Like, there's not really much else to say.
Yeah, I think I just I want to say I think I like it a little bit more for. Well, okay, I like it for TLO. He's in a great
That's what I was talking about. Ravagers are pretty good.
I was just like, I'm going to let these Reapers die before I make my statement because it's going to kind of change what I want to say. Yeah, that's really bad. You need, like, I think in my eyes, these Reapers just go home, they hide for a little bit, right? And then, like 5, 6 Reapers, and then I think you're okay. You just overwhelm. But then you lose 2 Reapers, and now I think you're kind of... Well,
TLO's so smart, though. This is one of the only builds MaSa does on maps where you can be aggressive like this, though. Like, this was such bait. That's why TLO's like, Terran likes this, I like this. Because TLO is an intelligent human being who recognizes that MaSa will probably do the most predictable MaSa thing if he gives him a MaSa map. And he's completely right. Now, that being said, the Ravager count gets thinned a little bit, though. So you do want to try your best to keep him alive. Supply depots are a massive issue, though. Killing that. You do not really have too much else. Your production, we joke about this. Actually, we don't joke about it. This is the win condition for Zerg, is you get on top of the Terran production. And he's literally on top of it because he built it in his natural too.
I know.
So the fact that these Reapers have been able to finish and run away is like credit to MaSa for crisis management. But losing all of this right now is painful. He's still got a massive worker lead, by the way. Like, MaSa is not necessarily out of it either. It's just a very weird game.
Pulling the SCVs in to help. Extra Ravagers showing up. Reapers getting themselves buffed as they bump around the Ravagers. It's just too many Ravagers right now, right, Nate? I mean, remember, there's more and more coming as well, and now the Reaper count's never going to get up back up.
Yeah, you had to pull a lot of SCVs to deal with this. Ravagers are actually really bad against SCV pulls, and you see one of the most effective parts of the cleanup was when he did that. But now you can only build. Oh no, the Wardy. It's one at a time. Oh, Bile gets some SCVs with that one too. Now that there's no more Reapers, the SCVs against 3 Ravagers are going to struggle. Yeah, GG. Well, that is just a very awkward game, and I have not ever actually seen someone try to do that build against that build. I've never seen those two builds interact, but it's a purely micro-based thing, right? If you pull the 2 Reapers that run into the first Ravager away instead of being cute, like MaSa was trying to be cute, and then that 1 Ravager with almost no health kills 3 Reapers on the way out, that's how you lose when you do this build as a Terran player against Ravagers. If you can get like 8 Reapers, you're gonna wreck the Ravagers.
Because if you like 6 to 8 Reapers, right? Is that point where you just get in and the Ravagers kill like 1 Reaper, but then you've lost a Ravager, and there's only 3 Ravagers. And so then there's still 5 Reapers versus 2 Ravagers. It snowballs super hard. So this time it snowballed the other way around, and TLO picks up a quick first map. And he's a map away from getting a big break.
Should have pulled almost all the SCVs, seriously. Like, you don't need more than like 7 or 8 SCVs to survive a defense of that build, because that build is 100% mega all-in. It's not possible to do that build and be economical behind it. Like, it is a great build in the sense that it is very efficient in spending all of your resources, but it is not a build that has like any wiggle room at all. Like, you are 100% committed. There's no going back when you do that type of Ravager opening, and that's, yeah, you gotta take it a little bit more seriously. Pull everything, I think, as fast as you can is one of the absolute best things that you could do, and that's not what happened. Instead, he lost all of his barracks and thus the game.
All right, we're going to jump into game number 2. It's Oxide. I like a bit of Oxide. I get excited now because I wonder what the heck TLO is going to bring out for a second map here, you know? So let's have it. Let's see what we've got.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Interested to see the way this one goes forward. Very smart by TLO to let that map through, considering if that was his plan, that's very smart. When I talk about builds that I think like good or are good or aren't good, whether it's like here or if I'm, you know, discussing it personally, I've always felt that builds like that are weak as like a general build to just use. But when you prep it specifically for a player like that in that type of situation, that's when I really like to see strategies like that. A very sharply carved knife for a special opponent. We are loaded in here though. On Oxide in the Northeast, we have the Red Zerg player leading 1-0. He is TLO.
Bottom left, we've got Alpha X's MaSa. A hatchery first this time around, Nate. And that will be against a command center first.
Well, this is it's actually a pretty nice opening for the Terran player. I mean, the reason why you wouldn't do this every game is because you would worry about someone going pool first, right? Or any type of attack bringing early pressure to you. But I don't mind it at all, especially versus Zerg, because having synced up orbital commands is not that bad when you're not, you know, like when you do command center first versus Protoss, for example. This build makes your mules at the same time on both command centers, which is actually bad if you drop them immediately, because then like DT show up and you're like, oh, neither of them have any energy. But versus Zerg, like I said, this build is just really nice if you can get away with it. It's mega greedy too. He's not going to build a second barracks. He went straight to double gas. So it's about as economical as you can really be, barring you know, a third command center within the next, you know, minute or two.
Yep. Yes, you're right. Super greedy. It speeds some builds up. He's going to go second Rex now. So here's the thing. I quite like what I've seen lately. Some people go like 2-1-1 off of this. And it's just really like clean. It's really powerful. It's dangerous, you know, like 2-1-1 is dangerous in its own right. But then you do a 2-1-1 off a CC first. Like that's super dangerous.
Yeah. So TLO moves the drone over. I mean, we know that TLO generally, like he's a guy that can mix it up and do fun builds and meme tactics and whatnot. But he's also someone that I've always felt was a pretty solid macro-based player too. You know, he just likes to put, it's like, it's not that he's cooking a weird dish. It's that he's cooking a normal dish, but he's putting some spices on it you may not have had before. And kind of giving you a fresh take on some of the normal things that you would see. And I think that's one of the reasons why TLO has been one of the fan favorite StarCraft players for the majority of his career, whether when he was playing Terran, when I was a fan of him, or Random when I was a fan of him, or when he became a Zerg player and my heart was broken and I put a pin cushion through my voodoo doll that I had in my shrine in my closet, 40, when he abandoned us.
I was really sad too, man. I was like, no, you can't. Why would you play Zerg? And it's weird to think back now, right? Like, like he used to be a one of the greatest Terrans.
Yeah. And I was like, why? Why? And he just looks at me. He's like, I made a mistake. I'm like, no! Hands to the air, crying. And then you never stop crying because you play Terran. And that's just the way that it is. Stim is on the way though. So, I mean, he's turned this into what is effectively like a 2-1-1, right? So we've got command center first into double gas. The way that this build was done gives you a little bit less meat early on, but if you're not being attacked, this he gets away with it. He's able to go for the fast gas before he gets second barracks, as you pointed out, and he's still going to have a decent amount of Marines to fill the medevacs up with when his stim's done. And despite having, I don't really know how much this delays the first type of attack compared to a regular 2-1-1, but he's definitely going to have way more of an economy behind it than a 2-1-1 build would.
Yep. It's actually hits really quick. Like you see the medevac start now, you're gonna leave your base at like 432 or something. It's actually disgusting how good the CC first makes this. It's become very popular. And you know why? Because Beyond's back. And he decided to start doing this. He's like, oh, it's pretty good if I can do one of my old signature builds off of even faster timing. So yeah, medevac's gonna pop in a couple moments and away we're gonna go. And TLO's got the right response. You know, this carapace upgrade's the right idea against a marine heavy opening. The spine crawl on the way up, just something to help out at times. Can definitely go a long way. Just help to, you know, kill the threat at points. Definitely a big deal. So yeah, I like this a lot for MaSa, but I like what TLO has defensively, and it still comes down to micro and how you then play the 2-1-1 after this point.
Oh, 100% for sure. There's still a lot of different ways you can take it, but I like that he went for an economic build that still gave him a nice opportunity to strike at the enemy. And these Marines are going to come up against just slings. They can do pretty well. Almost gets a queen. Feel like that's a pretty big missed opportunity. As we know, queens are definitely snowball units. They generate energy forever, so the longer they're alive, the more they can do. That spine crawler, forcing that at least is something, but at the end of the day, I think TLO's pretty happy on his 3 bases, sitting pretty. Not too much of a worker lead over the Terran, but should still be feeling quite okay so far. Doesn't lose too much more here. Okay, well, snipes the Banelings and the Queens and gets out. Never mind. Nice grab from MaSa. That kind of makes him feel a lot better about how the way this went down.
Yep, starting to build up the damage that he's doing, right? And you can see the army supply at the moment is getting kind of dangerous. MaSa's like up by 9. Remember that these Banes are nowhere near having Bane speed, so when this tank push comes, you got to be very careful with how much you've got on the map, because you're really relying still on just numbers, because the tank is going to target fire down any amount of like slow Banelings that are waddling around, right? So this is definitely scary. I mean, he didn't save every single Marine up until this point. He's lost 6 of them, so that's actually kind of a big deal in this scenario. Where's that tank going? Over here. Oh, and he's going to try and play from the back line. Oh, I like that, because it does reach the extractor.
Yeah, this is a really good way to use the map, right? He's leveraging the position that the map allows for. And TLO's going to go for a backstab here. At the same time, the Banelings go towards the Marines inside that 3rd base. The tank does not turn to target fire until the very end. He does get the Banes on the way out. That allows the Marines to drop again. So MaSa with some pretty good control, opening another opportunity for himself to get damage and gets another queen. Yeah. And on the way out, a handful of Zerglings. Now, TLO has Overlords pooping creep on both of the possible 3rd bases for MaSa, though, Wardy. So he knows that this is a kind of like a do or die situation, like defensively speaking. He just needs to hold on. The 3rd base is going to be extremely late for MaSa, and that just means you don't want to be too greedy. You don't want to overcommit, obviously, but you really don't want to make too much of an economic investment when your opponent's main focus right now is just killing you.
Yeah, the big thing to look at is that MaSa has 60 SCVs, but that's 15 SCVs over saturation. So until he gets the 3rd base up, he's actually down 15 workers right now. So TLO can absolutely recover from this, and right now he's going to get a lot of lings down, and he might be able to fight against that siege tank here. The tank needs to start getting so much splash damage. Wow, those Marines, they're pretty good, Nate.
Yes, Marines are quite fantastic when you can't get the Banelings on top of them. Kill everything, move fast, deal tons of damage. Life is good when you've got a lot of Marines. This tank trying to unsiege in the nick of time to survive, and it does. Nice save there by MaSa, as we have the armory booting up with +1 armor about to finish. And he's just ready to go. He's just he's bouncing back and forth like a pendulum to the other bases across the sides of the map for TLO. He's going to finally start clearing out the Overlords that have been covering those possible 3rd bases once the Overlord is ready to go. So he's actually floating into the other base, which is still being pooped on by an Overlord. So...
yeah, that's kind of weird. He cleans up the base that you would kind of like clear up the base you would usually take, and then he takes the other one that still has an Overlord there. Like, the more you think about it, the more stupid it is.
You played yourself. Now he turns it around too.
Yeah.
Think about where that CC was built, by the way, in the main. Could have very easily.
It was close. No, this is actually really bad though, because this is meant to be like an 8-minute 3rd, and it's actually now turned into like a 9-minute 3rd base, and now he's gonna come back over to the right side. There's still an Overlord there, mate. Like. Yeah, I didn't like that fight from TLO. He obviously really didn't do that much with it. Just felt like he just gave up a bit of Ling Bane for not really anything gained. So a little bit didn't like that, especially when TLO, you look at it now, is still only on 58 drones. He's just not droned up at all. So now MaSa, when he finally gets this third going, his economy is going to skyrocket, and then TLO is going to be in a ton of trouble.
Yeah, the biggest thing for TLO in this situation, he's gone for a decent amount of Hydralisks, so he's trying to bank on them being cost effective relative to the lower amount of income, as you were just saying, since he's only got 60 workers at the moment and he hasn't been building a tremendous amount. MaSa recognizes that. He wants to just kind of fly to the side. Moving your Hydras like this is very risky, by the way, when you don't have the speed upgrade done, because A, you can't catch the medevacs, and B, if he had another wave rallying to that base, he could have just sandwiched him and probably cleaned all of them up in a few moments. But either way, not too big of a deal, but more of the creep gets cleaned up outside the third. So TLO, you know, he's like kind of been defending, but it seems like he might have been hemorrhaging a little bit too much to make these defenses happen, Wardy. I'm not entirely sure how he tackles this army of MaSa.
I don't really know either. I think the answer is you kind of don't. Let's see if he can just swarm in. He does have a carapace upgrade, which is kind of a big deal in these fights at times, and he gets a pretty good start to this. The Hydra's trying to get into range. If they can get the rest of the concave on this, I mean, it might be okay.
Doing it.
Yeah, he kind of ran out of
Marines. He's got the tanks.
Yeah, he kind of ran out of Lings, and then he ran some Banes in that didn't need to hit that siege tank right when the Hydras are basically on top of it. He needs drones, though. You just can't keep playing this off 64 drones. Surely not.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm scratching my head at, right? Why does the Terran player have 15 more workers than the Zerg?
I mean, especially when you can't mine with 7980 workers right now. Like when this fourth base goes up, MaSa's going to be rich again, sure, but until then, like, he is oversaturating the entire mineral line here on the third.
I think, like, when people talk about like worker saturation and what's optimal and whatnot, you can actually go a little bit over the 16 recommended amount and still get a decent amount of value for that. Like, I like 18 workers per base personally a little bit more, because 17th and 18th are still like above 90% or something efficiency. They're not 100% like the other ones, but when you go to that 36, 37 number, you got a whole lot of workers that are quite literally doing nothing.
Yep. Yeah, it's really just a waste, and he's still building SCVs. I mean, once his fourth base up, to be fair, credit to him, he's going to be like really rich. I mean, TLO, to be fair, is dragging this game out to a point where now he's going to get a lurk den, right? And if there's one thing I've seen repeatedly in TVZ lately, it's that Terrans can have a great game and completely throw it away the moment lurkers come out, because they keep on being aggressive, they attack into spots they can't attack into, and they just don't find the right answers to the lurkers. So TLO is a long way off these lurkers having adaptive talents and seismic spines, which is kind of what he needs, but he's getting a few lurkers up. It's a start, better than nothing. Playing this entire game down on supply, but making progress.
Lurkers are like Marines in that with those two upgrades, they go from being units that are like, they're not bad. Unupgraded Lurkers aren't the worst unit in the game, just like, you know, naked Marines aren't the worst unit in the game, but they can turn into a completely different beast when you have those upgrades, and that's why people focus on it so much. These Lurkers have to run so far forward, so many shots taken. Now the Hydras still have a pretty good arc on the rest of the tanks, because he was trying to pick off those lurkers, so a decent amount of them are going to survive, but another big counter.
This is the problem.
Hydralisk Den is gone. That is a huge issue. Thankfully, it can be rebuilt, but without too much time, right? It's not the longest building tech structure, but at the same time, still quite a bit given away there.
Oh my god.
Happening?
These Banelings, if they'd gone to the left-hand side, there's still one Baneling amongst all these Hydras. It blows up a ton of SCVs, and MaSa's worker count just went down the drain, Nathanias. 42 SCVs just got killed. That one Baneling that got stuck in all the Hydras. I was just about to shout, like, oh my god, he just lost his final Banelings on the tank. And then I saw that one. I was like, he's going to be the hero. And he is. And TLO, this entire game kind of made no sense to me. But he's going to do it, isn't he? He's taking down everything.
I can't right now. Oh my god. Just the way that all those SCVs merged with. I'm like, there's lurkers behind this army. First of all, there was a Baneling tucked in there, yes, but there's lurkers. And you're clumping up all of your SCVs around the lurker and, you know, the Hydras, and that's just okay. Well, if we thought that things were a little bit dicey for TLO, perhaps his confidence to go forward with these attacks is why it works so well, because man, oh man, I thought he was starting to count himself. I thought he was starting to take himself out of the game with that. He's got 2 lurkers up behind this expansion as well. Seismic Spines is literally about to finish. That extra 2 range is massive for the lurkers. You get that. Adaptive Talon starts up, and that's the upgrade that, in my opinion, makes lurkers just like one of the most fun, incredibly powerful units in the game. You can run them around everywhere. The quick burrow, unburrow, zip, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge like your average Joes.
There was a single Baneling also on the third base initially, which got rid of the double drop, which would have maybe killed so much more. So TLO had a lot of little things go very right in the last couple minutes, and all of a sudden, 74 drones seems amazing, doesn't it, Nate?
Yeah.
Yeah. How things can change, huh? I mean, okay, main base relocates. Yeah, that is just a prime target, right? Because that only needs to be a group of Zerglings, and you're losing your mineral line over there. So that's not ideal. There's a big reason you build plantaries on those external bases. Obviously, the bottom right is now kind of out of the way from the other bases as well. It's not connected to much, so that's going to be a good target for TLO. TLO just needs to kind of... I don't even know if he needs to build up to get there, but like... Well, this is going to be interesting because it's going to kind of base trade because there's the Terran army on the right and the Zerg army is out here on the left.
And that's I was going to say, that's the other big thing here too, is look at this orbital that gets killed. I was going to point out with the third orbital dying, what is the army? What is the most scary unit in the army here, Wardy? It's the lurker. It's the lurkers, right? And now you have one orbital command. Good luck.
This is why you should have built a Raven, Nate.
Well, I think building 5 more command centers would have been more cost effective than a single Raven in this situation, but you're not wrong.
No. Parasite bombs just wanted to kill even more medevacs.
Don't bring it back.
Yellow's got a lot of money to spend right now, and he needs to find some lava. He's actually kind of low on lava. If you look at it, he's got 4 queens, so he should be able to do a bit more than what he's doing. And right now, this is maybe not the fight. I think we're currently seeing the lack of a scan really coming into play.
Yeah, I mean, not being able to see the lurkers hurts so much because he actually gets a really good concave around this force. He cleans up the majority of it, but you ain't got no scans. And guess what happens when you lose all your workers? You need to mule because you don't have any income either. And when you're muling, you're not scanning. This orbital command is trying to put the team on his back. But I'm going to be honest with you. You may not get this reference, but he ain't no Greg Jennings. I'm sorry.
TLO just realized he didn't have a hydrogen.
Perhaps. He's building 2 now. Oh, this would be the worst possible way to lose this game if he just died waiting for his hydrogen to rebuild.
No production.
He's got a lot of money in the bank, too.
I know, and he hasn't had the lava to spend it on Ling Bane because, well, he has been losing bases, to be fair. Oh, there's the lurkers that maybe going to be the issue.
But just 2 lurkers can do the trick because he only has 1 orbital command.
North American StarCraft.
What a it's like, TLO, when did you realize that you were, you had fully acclimated to being North American? And he said, well, this game probably did it for me. Especially the part where you claw out the win from this incredibly wild start to the game where he was down. What was it? Like 60 some odd drones against 85 SCVs?
85 SCVs I couldn't mine, by the way.
3 bases. That's good times. That's some good quality, USDA Prime StarCraft right here. This StarCraft was organic, cage-free, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my god, this Parasite Bomb, please split the medevacks up this time. No, that's the wrong medevac. Oh my god.
Actually, is a great example though. It's like how how like all like the corn and whatnot, like they all make it like it's designed to look nice. And then you're like, have you ever seen corn in the wild? And you're like, that's NA StarCraft, right? We didn't curate it. We didn't put any special touches on it. We just kind of grew random StarCraft without really, we didn't modify it. We didn't use any special seeds, and this is what you get. Yeah, is it corn technically? But does it just look like it's a pine cone? Yeah, that too.
Oh no! Oh no!
And he has to turn this base into an orbital.
No! The SCVs are stacked. Moral of he doesn't even go long distance mine or something. Please stop stacking up on the lurk.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Look, he has to turn this base into an orbital because he has the awareness to recognize that even down 50 supply with no units, he needs the scans more than anything else. He needs the scans. And he's broke. He's building 3 Marines at a time. The tenacity out of MaSa here, just it's almost inspirational. Almost.
Yeah. Well. I'll leave that one up for debate. A couple Vipers on the way. TLO is finally at the point where he's like actually just outbuilding MaSa. He's gotten his money problem under control. He's got his lava problem sorted. I don't mind the couple Vipers coming in as well because I think they actually have a lot that they can bring into play. A couple of Blinding Clouds kind of really seals the deal on a lot of these fights. So
Yeah.
why not go for it?
Yeah, I think that's what you do. I mean, you could abduct everything to finish it. You could just, at this point, run all the lings in and then move the lurkers and burrow them right in range of everything, right? Like, you know, we've reached the choose your own adventure part of how to close out the ZVT when you're up 100 supply, which is that's a fun choose your own adventure game. It is.
Yeah. Lings are mostly unsuccessful there. Yeah, I mean, we're really just waiting for the Vipers to show up. I guess
we're really just waiting for TLO to just drive it in, right? He's up 100 supply, right? Like, there's how much more is there really to say? He doesn't have anything that's in a position to like buy him a crazy amount of time. There's no tech switch that was happening. He's just building an SCV, a medevac, a tank, a marauder, a marine. You know, meanwhile TLO's like, are there any upgrades I forgot to get before I finish this game?
Yeah, going into +3 missiles. Oh yeah, maybe you get melee for those lings that are dying before they reach the army every single time. Whoa, that lurker shot. Well, I mean, MaSa moves out. TLO's like, should I go? No, I don't know if 100 supply difference is enough.
Yeah, it's not enough.
102, maybe that's gonna do it.
I must break his spirit first before his body.
As we go in for the kill, TLO will get rid of the orbital and, well, if nothing else, he's going to die to not be able to scan the lurkers again because he's back down to 1 on that bottom side. MaSa's like, maybe if I counterattack. You know, that worked a little bit earlier, but no, it's not enough. And TLO gets a big win.